let's just say, Chris, let's forget the names. You had a great running back you could take at 3 or a great pass rusher at 3. Which do you deem more valuable fundamentally? How's that for a question? That was a trick question.
Well, it's a loaded one. It's a loaded one, but I'll take it. Let me say this. When you're this high in the draft, you've got to get a difference maker.
Yes.
And that's what we're looking for. We want the biggest difference maker we can find. And look, we're going to be open, too, now. We're going to be smart and do the best thing for the team. So if we get a chance to move back and we think that's the best thing to do, then that's what we'll do.
Will you, Chris, do you have a date? For instance, would you say, listen, 24 hours before the draft, no phone calls? Or will you take phone calls for that 3rd pick to the last minute?
No, we'll take phone calls up to the last minute. We'll be prepared to know the spots in the draft that we need to move back and who the players we are able to take and acquire if we do move back.
The Combine's a bunch of guys in their underwear, and nobody plays in their underwear, and a lot of people say it's overrated. But I do think the interview process, there are tells, there are moments. To you, the cone drill, the interview, is there one thing here for the next couple days you really concentrate on?
Let me say this, because I think all of it's important, Colin. You know, information is the key to the draft. I mean, that's the key to the draft. So whoever can get the most accurate information is usually going to have the most success. So every step, so from medical, which I think is critical that we get it right, you know, because we want to be able to draft healthy players. I mean, look, the hardest thing we do is draft a player with a healthy track record and good character. Very difficult to do. And we get to hit both areas when we're here at the Combine. And a lot of times with the 15-minute interview, with the coaches' interviews that they have over at the train station, that's a time for us really to just start getting to know the player. We'll keep delving in March and April. And then when it comes to the 40, the drill work, look, we have a lot of data from, you know, we have 25, 30 years of data that tells us that there are for each position, there are certain drills that are more applicable and are important. So we're going to pay attention to the number. Look, we time them for a reason. We do this testing for a reason. And elite athletes play in our league. Are there exceptions? Absolutely, there are exceptions. But we're going to pay attention to the data and what it's told us in the past.
Listen, I said the Baker Mayfield police video is a non-starter, I'm out, but that doesn't mean everybody else thinks that way. Is there a red flag that is a non-starter for you? Drugs, attitude? Is there one red flag you're just not going to deal with?
We're gonna. I'll say this, Colin. I mean, I think my history's shown that we're willing to give guys second chances.
Okay.
But we have to Colin, we have to delve into it. We have to find out why it happened, what were the circumstances that happened, and then see if we believe the kid and believe all the sources that we've interviewed, and if it's worth the risk. I mean, look, you don't take chances on average players with issues. You take chances on talented difference maker players that have some issues, and then is it worth the risk? Can we manage it? Is he a good person? Is he remorseful? I think you got to go through that process. You can't just eliminate based on what everybody else is saying. I tell our scouts all the time, and I tell our organization, look, we're going to make the decision on the player and the mistakes he made, and we're going to come to the final conclusion whether we think we can manage it and handle it.
Listen, I would have been angry if Josh McDaniels did to you what he did to me, what he did to you. But there was a moment I was driving home that day from my radio show, and I thought to myself, actually, he did you a big favor. And you had Frank Wright lined up real quick. Did you have a day over a glass of wine talking to your wife that when it was all said and done that you weren't really angry? And then in a way, it probably worked out best.
One of my strengths, Con, I'm pretty good staying in the moment. And when things happen that you and your mind, like in our minds, we create things the way they should be. And it doesn't always work out that way. And look, people say no in this league all the time. It happens. And, you know, can I say initially was I not angry? Absolutely I was. I think anybody would be upset, but I got over it quickly, and I knew where we were going. Look, Barry Alvarez, I'll never forget this. When he first walked into the program at Wisconsin, where I went to school and played, he said, look, the one thing we won't do is we won't flinch. Things are not going to go right. They're not always going to go the way we planned them to go. And it's our job to not flinch, to keep moving forward and do the right thing. So for us, and I was proud of our organization. I was proud of all the people in our organization that nobody panicked. They knew we still had a plan in place. We had people that we still wanted to interview that we liked. And look, it worked out with Frank Reich. We feel very fortunate to have him as our head coach.
Okay, so I'm an emotional creature. You're like an accountant. You I can tell that you don't get.
Little do you need to sit next to me on game day.
Because I'm an emotional being, and I said this last week, and you can tell me how ridiculous this is. I said, listen, I know this pass rusher is great, and I know the safety in Alabama is great, but I feel like that the organization, there's been a little bit of chaos with Andrew Luck and the injury and the coaching move. The organization, I can make an argument, almost owes him a star in that backfield. Now, that's just me emotional, Colin, rooting for you because I know you. How do you take the emotion out of this process and not do him a solid by giving him a world-class running back? How does that not play into your thinking?
The one neat thing about Andrew, this is one of the really special things about Andrew, and we've gotten very close over this last year. Andrew will always want to do the best thing for the team. Like, he sees himself as one of the 53. Now, he understands that he plays quarterback and he's elite at the position and he's held to a different standard. But one of the great things about him is he's a great teammate, and he'll always want us to do the best thing for the franchise. So that's what we'll do. And that's always been my mindset, Colin. There's never been a point where I've ever thought, you know what, I'm just going to make a move for one player to make him fit. No, we're going to do the best thing for the team. And whatever that best move is, and that's what we'll do. And that's the great thing about Andrew. He will go along and be happy and play good football and be one of the 53.
When's he going to throw for the first time?
Soon.
Well, it's 2 weeks soon? 6? Well, what is soon?
Soon.
Well, I'm going to go to Hawaii soon,
Let me say this.
But I have to book a date.
He is working. He's down working with Tom House, which I think has been, my visits with Tom have been great. My visits with Andrew have been great. They are the one thing we don't want to do is skip a step in this. Right. We don't want to just. Everything we want to do is we got a process laid out. Andrew has a process laid out with Tom and in conjunction with us and our doctors, and we won't skip a step. We'll continue to just take it step by step. We have time, but I have complete faith in Andrew. I know I've spent enough time with Andrew to know where his mindset is right now, and it's good. He's going to prove a lot of people wrong.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.